Hey there, everyone. My name is Ron Lewis with the Awakening State Podcast, and today I have a very special guest with us, um, and a very dear friend of mine. We've been friends a long time, and it's finally good to have you on the podcast. So let me introduce to you Soleil Ray, and um, how you doing, Soleil? Good to talk to you again.
Great, I'm great. And some of you may be wondering, oh my goodness, I remember her name is Sherry Hollis before.
Uh
So,
huh.
you know, I just have to explain a little bit. I changed my name. Not legally yet, but I intend to. So very soon it will be changed legally to Soleil Ray. I feel that I'm in a new chapter in my life, and this name really reflects where I'm at and who I am at the moment.
That's
Yeah,
that's so awesome, Soleil.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really real happy to hear that, and I'm really so proud of you, and I'm honored to be your friend and your brother, and we have some very interesting conversations together, and so it's really a pleasure to have you on the podcast,
Yeah,
and
it's my pleasure.
I'm sure we'll be doing more of it. Um, So, Soleil, I'm very interested, and I'm sure the audience is as well, to know a little bit about your journey, what has brought you to this point. You're a light worker. Um, we need light workers in this world. It's wow. If there was ever a time we need light workers, it's now. And so I guess I just begin. Why don't you? Um, we all go through learning periods, learning times in our life, and we have our ups and downs. I've had my share, and I know you have too. Um, and we want to learn from each other and our experiences. And the viewers can learn from you today. So please share with us some of the things that have helped you get to where you are today, some of the challenges that you've had to overcome. We'd love to hear that, Soleil.
Wow, wow, Ron, I tell you, that's a loaded question, but I will give you something of it. I can't give you all of it because we
That's
wouldn't be
fine.
able to do this show. It would be forever. I would be talking about it.
That's
But
fine.
just to give you the short version, some so to speak, I was raised a Jehovah's Witness,
Okay.
basically. So, um, my parents, we grew into that religion. We grew up in that religion. And after that, I met some friends that lived around the corner from me, and they introduced me to Islam. So I went from being a Jehovah's Witness to a Muslim, and I was a
Wow.
Muslim for 19 years.
Wow.
Very, yes, very long time. And so I would say, to make a long story short, after that, I ended up leaving all religion completely, completely. And that has a lot to do with where I'm at now. And I would say this, Ron, I don't like to negate the religions that I came from
Sure.
because they're the sum total of who I am right now.
Absolutely.
And oh my goodness, the amount of wealth of knowledge and wisdom that I learned from having that journey, I wouldn't trade it for the world because it brought me to the place that I am now in terms
Wow.
of the understanding that I have now. And I know that I would not have what I have right now had I not went that route.
Wow.
So I believe things are divinely ordained, honestly.
Yes.
And we take the paths and the journeys that we take because they're pivotal to our growth and our evolution. And also, they're part of the purpose as well.
Yes.
The places that we say to ourselves we really shouldn't have been in those places, it was all for a reason, right?
Absolutely.
There was value in all of it, and I know you could say the same, Ron,
Yes.
yourself. There's value in the places that we're like we shouldn't have been there. When we add it all up, we realize that we should have been
Yeah.
there.
That's right.
It brought us to a deeper place, a higher place of understanding that we would never, ever be able to achieve had we not gone that route. So I would say that that's how, um, those were some of my challenges. And then I remember one time in particular, Ron, that shifted me completely. And this was about 14 years ago. I said to myself, you know what? You've been listening to everyone else your whole life about what to believe. Why
Yeah.
don't you give yourself a break? Why don't you take a break from everything that everyone told you, just so that you could see what Sherry on her Soleil, that was Sherry, but now this is Soleil,
That's
what
right.
Sherry feels about this, that, and the other, right? And so I said, I'm going to give myself 6 months' time without any influences of the world, without my parents in my head, without my friends' religion in my head, without the indoctrinations of all people. I'm just going to put it all to the side and give myself a break and
Mhm.
see what I come to on my own.
Good
And
for you. Yep.
yeah, that's what I did. I took a 6 month break, and it was the most liberating, most phenomenal experience
Wow.
because I felt so free. I was able to release the constraints that were on my life. There were so many rules and so many indoctrinations. You have to
Yeah.
do it this way, you have to do it that way. And it's like, oh my gosh, where does the individual come into place? That's what I was thinking in my mind. And my whole life's journey, I realized at that point in time that I was going to really focus on the individual and helping the individual to understand their unique,
Wow.
authentic expression in the midst of all of the stuff that's put on us.
Yeah.
Because I felt that a lot of times we could get lost in the source, so to speak, of religion, of indoctrinations, no matter who they come from, whether they're good or bad or in between or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
A lot of people lose themselves
Yep.
and they rob themselves of that unique, authentic expression that would naturally come out of them if they don't have these restrictions and constraints on them. And oh my God, like something started welling up in me. Like it's like this fire was burning inside of me. I said, wow, that's part of my mission because I felt so convicted about it. I felt so strongly about the fact that a lot of people are lost. They're lost
Right.
and they need a way out
Yeah.
of the confusion, of the strife, of the contention. They need a way out. So I started to go deep into studying and trying to understand what it was all about. And wow, what an amazing journey.
Wow.
So much about myself, Ron. I learned so much about myself. I was like, I'm not my religion. I'm not my culture. Okay. I'm not any of those things. I'm not my race. I'm
That's
not
right.
those things. When you peel all the layers away,
That's right.
I'm Soleil. That's who I am. Soleil. Despite religion, despite culture, and all these indoctrinations that people want to put on me. And so I realized that there was a voice, Ron, that was trying to come out, that was pretty stifled under all these constrictions. And I wanted to give a platform to that voice. I wanted to create a space for that voice. And I said, I'm going to give her a chance to speak. And the more that I allowed myself to do that, the more that I realized that I was really on to something, not just for myself, but for so many people. I believed
Wow.
that I had value to add and that I had something to share.
It's so needed today. That is so needed today. If you look
Yeah.
around in the world, there are so many people who are just groping around trying to find who they really are, and they're told, they're programmed that they're, oh, you're this or you're that. They're looking outside themselves, but it is so needed, Soleil, today.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Very
Oh,
much
yes.
needed.
Yes. So that was part of it, and so it's kind of like I continued to go down a rabbit hole. But I would say that my whole life has been a rabbit hole because I have a specific type of personality that I've always been a seeker.
Yeah,
And I've always been inquisitive, always about wanting to know the nature of reality and
yeah.
how things come to be what they are. And I just have an insatiable appetite for those types of things.
I
And it can't be
uh,
quenched at all. And I know you're the same way.
I can relate to it. Yes, I can.
Yeah, yeah. And so it just my background is metaphysics. That's what I went to school for. But I can honestly tell you that that's not where I got that from. The schooling wasn't it. I would say that I was born this way,
Yep.
and I had found my niche, my place. I was like, as a matter of fact, when I entered into school, I had no clue that there was a school that encompassed the interests that I had. I was like, wow, there's a school for that? I've been doing this my whole life. And you mean to tell me there's a metaphysical school? I had no clue. I was like, wow. So I actually can go to school for something that I have an interest in, I really love, So that
Yeah.
was just phenomenal to find that out because I had been studying that stuff way before I even entered into school, metaphysics
Absolutely.
for many, many years, you know. So yeah, that's part of it, but like I said, there's a whole lot more that I could go into.
Right. And a lot of what we go through, and like I know as a kid, I felt very much like you feel. And yeah, I used to ask my mom, where did I come from? Why am I here? And I always felt like you always feel like you don't quite fit in with the whole program. You just don't fit into the program.
Yeah.
And and you know, I used to think that that was unique to me, but as I talk to more people, especially young people nowadays, I find out that they deal with that same longing. It's a longing. Um, I I wrote in my book, we long to belong.
Mm-hmm.
We long to belong, and I wrote a poem. It said, "We long to belong, but we know not where." It's the whole thing. I'll have to read it someday. I don't recall the way it goes now, but it's just it's I thought I used to be unique, that, oh, it's just me, I'm this way, and and then I would listen to people around me, oh, you're this or you're that, and that's what we were talking about earlier today, is we were talking about looking outside ourselves for advice, for like someone else to tell us who we are or what we do.
Yeah,
And
concerning your purpose.
yeah, and
Talking
so
more relevantly about that.
right, and so
Yeah, yeah.
could you uh, take that a little further? And
Oh yeah.
I'll stop talking and just listen,
Oh
because
yeah.
I'd like
That's
to know your feelings on that, Soleil.
Oh man, that's huge. Is to understand your place in the world. It's very huge because you get so many people's voices inside of your head telling you what their vision for you is.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be doing this or shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing this because they have this concept of who you are and who you should be. And
Yes.
you, when you don't really know who you are, you'll get caught up in that with listening to other people
Yeah.
of their vision of what you should be
Yeah.
or how you should be flowing in your life. And you can get very, very confused.
Yes.
I remember early on, I was confused because people were telling me I should be doing this, that, and the other. And it's so interesting because I was very young at the time. I must have been like 19, 20, and my dad was talking to me about going into technology. He said, "Hey, you could be a technician, a computer technician. You'll make a lot of money and this and that." And I said, "That sounds good, Dad." I said, "But that's not for me."
That's right.
And he was like, "Why wouldn't you want to do something like that?" I said, "Dad, I want to do something that I want to do, something that feeds me." And what I realized was it's about what feeds your soul. That's really what it's about.
Yeah. That's it.
And only you know what that is. If you're connected, if you understand what your purpose is. I'm talking about those who know. But even those who don't know, when you spend that time with yourself, like I mentioned earlier, and you allow yourself to have that space so that that voice can speak to you, then that guidance comes to you. And
Yeah.
it's undiluted wisdom that comes down to you because you're not hearing the voices of other people. Give yourself that chance to hear your own intuition without the indoctrinations, without the other clutter and chatter and noise of the world, of other people. Come to yourself and ask yourself, who am I? What did I come here to do? What is my purpose? And if you continuously ask that on a consistent basis, eventually it will come to you if you're allowing that space. But you have to allow that space in order to be able to hear because you're listening with your spiritual ears and your heart and your mind. So you have to allow a space to be able to hear that wisdom. Otherwise, it's going to be drowned out with all the other issues of life, and you won't be able to
Mhm.
hear it.
That's good. And you make I mean, it's just wisdom. You're just speaking pure wisdom. And you know, some people think that any the world is so full of like this programming that goes on where people feel that when they're alone, that they're lonely, that they have nobody. And I think you and I both know from our previous conversations, we we know what alone feels like. We know what it feels like to be totally alone. And I used to, because of the programming, I used to think, oh, I don't have anybody. I'm lonely. I'm this and that. But but we have to have that alone time in order to find ourselves, to find out who we are.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
and I think that in this age that we live in, uh, people are people are being afforded the opportunity to be alone. There's a lot of situations where we end up alone, uh, and
Well, lately, recently,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
what went on in the world, we don't even have to say everybody already knows what it
y-
was.
right. And
Yeah.
the thing is there's a purpose for that, and I say embrace that and use that as an opportunity to get to know yourself. Because um, I recently mentioned in a podcast something. What was it? It was oh, the greatest people like on the outside are talking politics, this side, that side, who's this, who's that, who's going to be our next leader, our next superhero. But the greatest political battle that ever takes place happens within us
Mhm.
because we have this uh, good bad thing going on all the time. Oh, this is good, that's bad, this is good, that's bad. And uh, the greatest judgments happen within us where we're judging, maybe we're judging someone else, or we're judging this, or we're judging that. And because we've been taught to always look at things as either being good or bad
Mhm.
instead of, and so when we're lonely, I'm coming to a point with this. When we're lonely, we think it's bad to be lonely, or we think it's good, we think it's good or bad. It's neither. It's just embrace that,
Mhm.
you know. Just
Mhm.
to, with a little bell, I'll stop talking and let you respond to that. I mean, does that? I mean, sometimes I don't make sense. It's all in here, and I don't make sense with my words. Can Is there any sense to what I'm trying to say? Maybe you
Oh
can.
yeah. Well, you're saying exactly what I was saying. You're unconfirmed. You're. It's a confirmation of what I was saying, that you need to create that space.
Yeah,
That space has to be created. It's not going to come on its own. So you have to make space within your life to get in touch with that part of yourself.
right. And that
And
can
that
be,
part, huh?
yeah.
What
And I
you
was
say?
going to say that can be a struggle. That's not going to be
Oh, it's not easy, but the thing is it has to become a habit of you spending time with yourself.
right.
And most people don't make that a habit. Soon as they're alone with themselves, they try to crowd that space with other people or other situations, or they try to bring something into that space to keep it noisy.
The TV, the cell
Yeah,
phone. Yeah,
social media, you name it. Like there's so many vices that they use in this world that will distract you, and so you have to understand that in order to hear that voice, you need that silence, you need that solitude. Um, like in the Bible, it says, "Be still and know that I
yeah.
am God."
That's right.
Without
That's
the
right.
stillness, you can't hear that voice of God. There's too much chatter. There's too much noise.
Yeah,
There's too much interference. So you need that space.
right.
Very important.
Talk to me a little bit about the practice of meditation.
Oh man, wow.
I throw a
Meditation.
loop for you, throw you for a loop. I
Yeah,
don't mean to.
meditation. I started meditating consistently about 15 years ago, and I meditate every single day. And it's interesting because at first I was doing it to try to find out how it would change me, because I heard so many wonderful things about it. So I had to put it to the test. But in order to put something to the test, you have to be consistent so that you could have a reference point to see what the difference is when you're doing it and when you're not doing it. So I decided to be consistent one time 15 years ago. And I've never lived stopped. I never looked back, and I never stopped to not do my meditation on a consistent basis every single day. And what I learned was meditation helps you to get in touch with that part of you that I was speaking of earlier.
Yeah,
That guide that's inside of you, that internal guide, begins to speak to you more because of meditation. Because meditation brings you to a higher level of vibration. So, in a higher level of vibration, you're more relaxed. And in that relaxed state, they call that the flow or the God state.
right.
That's when that's when all the wonderful things come to you, because you're just in a zone. You're in the flow. And
Yes.
that's when wisdom comes to you. And it's interesting, and I'll give you an example. I was driving Uber Eats, right? And anyone that knows, if you do Uber Eats, that when you're driving on the road, and you're a little stressed and tense and stuff, it's like it can really mess with your ability to
That's
focus.
true.
Driving requires a lot of focus, especially if you go into multiple different places
Yeah.
a long period of time, a couple of hours throughout the day. You have to focus. So what I started to do was transfer that relaxed state that I have practiced in meditation, and I decided to bring it to my driving. And what I realized was before, I used to drive with my body, right? And it was always this tense type of situation going on. And
Huh.
when I started to reflect on how meditation brings you to that flow state and that relaxed state, I brought it to the driving. And it's like I'm this dynamic driver. I always was a good driver, but meaning like in such a relaxed state, so much so that I could see everything going on around me. I could see mistakes that people will make way before they even do it because I'm just there. Like you just become dynamic. And so that's what meditation does to you. It brings you to a place where there's this stillness inside of you that you have more of an ability to hear. And that's what's so powerful about it. That's what's
Wow.
so, yeah, so
Yeah.
powerful.
And that's so true. And you had mentioned earlier the scripture, be still and know God, and you know, um, the master, um, Jesus or Ishu in Aramaic. As you know, I study Aramaic a lot and I use a lot of the Aramaic words. And because of that, it's so interesting. You find out the true meaning behind the teachings
Hmm.
of this master. I mean, down through ancient times right up to today, we have a lot of masters.
Hmm.
But I particularly like the teachings of Ishu because they are so Eastern teaching. They are Eastern teachings, and I don't want to get into that too much. That could be a future podcast. But where I'm going with this um, is uh, an illustration that he gave about um, broad is the path that leads off into chaos, destruction, turmoil. Um, Many of the doomsdayers, they say, "Oh, it's destruction." I mean, you and I both were in the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they would go, "Oh, this means that all these, it's the broad road that's going to go off into doomsday, and all these people are going to be." Doesn't even mean that, okay? So, but but he said, narrow is the the path, and cramped is the gate that leads to life, to to divine life.
Hmm.
And and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but as a kid, I was taught that imagine going up a mountain and you got this little cramped road, and then or this big freeway where everybody's going down and it's a popular thing to do, and they're going to be all come to a big destruction. Well, I've learned through, I don't know, my own research and my own meditation and my own thinking, that it's like not a path of a road, but it's a hurricane, like a hurricane path, the path of a storm. And and so what
Right, good way to put it. That's right.
yeah, what's going on out around in the storm? Oh, there's flooding, there's lightning, there's rain, there's wind. It's people are holding on to branches, and it's drama. It's
Mhm.
drama. Well, this is the outer part of the storm.
Mm-hmm.
But in the eye of the storm, in the center of the storm, which is the master was talking about becoming centered with
Mm-hmm.
ourself,
Mm-hmm.
and the eye of the storm is peaceful.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so theoretically, or actually in reality, if you stayed in the eye of the storm, you could go everywhere that storm would go,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be fine all the time. And so, uh, and this it goes back to the Psalm 91 that says, uh, "The one who dwells in the secret place of the Most High, nothing's going to happen. 1,000 will fall at your right, 1,000 will fall at your left. Uh, you'll be protected from the arrows that fly by day and the terror in the night." And it goes on and on and on and all these things.
And those are all phenomenal things. But if you have not centered yourself in that
Yeah,
space of quiet, solitude, and stillness of mind, because what it is it's not that you're still physically, like your body could be moving and stuff like that, but you're still still. But the stillness that they're talking about is resonance
right, right,
within your spirit, where things are going on around you. You're being challenged by life. You're
right,
in the middle of the storm of life, but there's this calmness inside of you. You feel confident, you feel strong, you feel
right.
like nothing's going to come at me that's going to destroy me.
That's
nothing's
right.
nothing's going to take me off of my path. It's like you can throw everything at me, but I still feel this calmness. I still feel this confidence. I still feel this faith that no matter what you do to me, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, I'm still going to hold
Yeah,
on to the faith. I'm going to hold on to the faith because I'm going to be the winner. I'm intending to stay still
that's
in the
right.
midst of the storm. I'm intending to persevere in the midst of the storm. I'm intending to believe that no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, I will be victorious.
Yeah,
So that's what they're really talking about with that resonance, with that stillness. It's
absolutely.
calmness of mind.
Yeah. And so exactly, Soleil, exactly. So the whole eye of the storm, the secret place of the Most High, all this, when you were talking about meditation, those things come to my mind because that is meditation. That is bringing yourself into that eye, into that peaceful place.
Oh man,
Yeah. And that's where I was kind of going with it. And
that's huge. I'm so glad that you brought that up because that ties that in perfectly because
yeah,
it's huge. It's huge too because you started out as asking as saying that you went through some challenges, Soleil, right?
right.
You've had some challenges, right? Like all of us have. Um, and it's interesting. The other day I was talking to a friend of mine and she was having a moment and she was losing it. You know what I mean? Mentally, she said she felt like she was having a nervous breakdown. And I told her, I said, it's all normal. I said, it's okay. I said, things have to fall apart in order for them to fall into the place where they
That's
should
right.
be.
Yeah.
You have to allow that. I said, don't judge yourself. I said, it's normal for it to fall apart. I said, especially if you're leaving one world to enter into a new world, meaning that you're closing one chapter and you're trying to go to another chapter in your life, you're trying to elevate yourself, something has to fall away.
Yeah.
It's naturally what's supposed to happen, but we fight it because we're conditioned to believe that we're going to lose something. We are going to lose something. We're going to lose the parts that no longer work. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And we're going to find the parts that do work. So it's all part of it. You're
Well,
supposed
it's like it's our personal apocalypse. Okay. And apocalypse just means a revelation.
to, yeah,
So in order to get to the revelation, there has to be sort of a climax
yeah,
of
that's
of
right.
of the old
That's right.
yeah, to bring on the new. It's just like, again, I go back to the master's teachings because he said, those who want to save their old fake life will lose it, and
That's right.
those who lose their old fake life will gain life. So, um, and he mentions about denying our old self. We have
Mm-hmm.
to deny our old self so that we can be born into our our true self, who we are.
Yeah.
So that plays right into with what you're saying right now.
Oh yeah. It's huge to understand that though, because if you don't get that, then the winds that are coming at us, because they come at all of us,
Yeah,
it'll take you into all kinds of places and you'll be in a loop.
yeah,
You'll be going in a loop, you know? So you really want to be able to find that center in understanding that this is all part of it. And you're going to go through stuff and you're going to be challenged.
yeah.
And you cannot say that you want to grow and you want to move to another level and think that you will not be tested. Think about how we evolve in life.
That's right.
When we're in school, we start out in kindergarten, then we go to the first grade and second grade and on and like that. The thing is you can't qualify to go to the next grade unless you've mastered the other grades. So this is what life is showing us.
Yeah,
It's about mastering the lessons of the old level that we were on. Because if we have not mastered those old levels, we can't go to the next level. We can't qualify because we don't have the understanding to move to the next level. Because everything is about vibration, it's about understanding, it's
that's right.
about consciousness. So if you have not that understanding to go to the third grade and you want to go to the third grade, you don't qualify to go to the third grade until you understand the lessons of the past,
That's right.
you know?
I that's really great. You know, we are, and I want to get into this in the next podcast because we're coming up to the end of the podcast right now, and we're going to do this again. I promise we're going to do this again because this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'd like to end with, you know, we talked about purpose a little bit, and going back to the question I used to ask my mom, why am I here? How did I get here? Um, because none of us really totally remember before we come here, and once we come here, we don't totally remember. We don't remember our past lives. I mean,
Well,
we
some of
go.
us do. Some
Yes,
of us,
some of us do. Some of
a
us
lot of
do.
children do.
Yeah,
A lot of children do.
but it depends on a person's consciousness.
Yeah.
How, you know, and I think that there's I think we're here. Some of us are here to help. We all chose this, uh, but we're here because we still need to learn something so that we can become fully conscious once again of who we really are. And I think that to learn who you are, you have to see the contrast. And if we could understand that, if we could understand that, maybe we could would help people cope a little better.
Oh, it's so interesting that you say that because that's what I was sharing with a friend of mine when the friend that I was talking about earlier, that I was making reference to. I said what we don't understand is that the yin and the yang is all part of it. That contrast is absolutely needed. We can't grow to the next level without a challenge. The contrast is the challenge, you know. And the things that go wrong are the things that are going right. Honestly, that's really what it is. Those
Yeah,
things that seem like they're going wrong are really going right because it's helping to shift us to grow to another level. It's building our desire to want more, to want to be better, to want to be in a better situation.
Yeah,
If we don't have any type of friction, how are we going to want to desire to be more and better if there's nothing challenging us?
that's
See,
right.
what we don't understand is that Source created us not for mediocrity, but for greatness.
That's right.
So the winds have to come on us so that they could whip us into shape
Right.
and so that they could define our purpose for us.
Right. And it's about self-realization that we are adequate. It's just that we've been lied to that we're not adequate, that we're not good enough.
Mhm.
Religion does it. Oh, we're all sinners. You're a sinner, and then people take on the identity of a sinner. I was talking to a lady the other day that I work with at this little job I have, and it's a really nice lady, but she's a very church-going lady. I mean, really a sweetheart. And she breaks down and she said, "I'm just no good. I'm just a pathetic sinner. I'm a wretch. I'm just a sinner." And I just like I said, "No, you're not. You're just you're adequate. You're a beautiful person. You're you are perfection, and it's not that you are any of those things. You are God living you. It's just that what happens, I told her, is that we become unconscious of our true adequacy." And 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 she said, "Well, thank you for that. Thank you." Because
Yeah.
I just, the master said, "Go and sin no more." He
Mhm.
didn't say, "You're a wretched sinner, so just try to stay out of trouble."
Mhm.
He didn't say that. Why would someone say, "Go and sin no more," if he didn't think people could do it? We
Mhm.
can do it. It's
Mhm.
what he's saying is, you got this. You can do this. He's
Yeah. And
right.
I love Neville's interpretation of that. He
Neville
said
Goddard. Yeah. Yeah.
sin means to miss the mark. That's
Right.
all it means.
That's
It
right.
doesn't mean something horrible like what we've been taught. It means to miss the mark.
That's
If
right.
you had a goal in mind that you're trying to reach and you did not reach it, you missed the mark, basically.
Right. And if you take on the identity of a sinner, it is a distraction, uh, keeping you from resonating in tune with what I call the divine flow or the spirit. If you are so distracted, once you were distracted, it's like clutter. It's like,
Mhm.
imagine a tuning fork. It's like humming away in tune with whatever frequency hits it, um, uh, and it's humming away. But if you put something on it, that tuning fork can't vibrate. And that something on it are the distractions that we are burdened down with in our spiritual life that keeps us from resonating in tune with the divine flow.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, so when people walk around taking on the identity of a sinner or a victim, it it lowers it 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 um, it dampens the vibration. You cannot vibrate if you. It's like holding your hand on a bell. It's a dampening force that keeps you from resonating. That's the clutter, what I call clutter,
Mhm.
of the victimhood, of the saying, "Oh, I'm this or I'm that or I'm this," or you know, those will prevent you from becoming conscious of your true divine nature and identity.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
You know,
Yes, that's right.
yeah. So, wow. Um, Soleil, before we go, because I'm watching the time over here, which is kind of quick. I can see our time, and I don't want to go too long. But so, what are you doing now? What are you offering any programs, any courses? What is it that Soleil is doing right now? Because I know you're involved, so involved in helping others. And what if someone wants to get in contact with you, maybe through your Facebook or something? How how could we make that happen? Because your your wisdom needs to be out there for everybody to share it with everybody, because we so need this. We so need this at this time. This
Yeah.
is vital information. And so how what are your plans?
So
What's in the
I have a
works?
YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Soleil Ray, and
Okay,
you can find me on there. In addition, you can email me at soleilray.com, and that's SOLEYRAYE.com.
good.
And you can email me there. I mean, soleilray@gmail.com. That's what I meant.
Oh, awesome.
You
You
can,
know,
you can email me there.
so what we'll do is I'll put this in the link below when I
Yes, I'll
upload
put it in
this,
your description.
because this will
Yes,
be uploaded to Rumble, and later you can put it on your channel as
yes,
well. So we need to put that below in the link.
absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
I also have a website that I will be changing later, um, because I have a website on GoDaddy, but GoDaddy restricts you in a lot of ways. So
sure,
I'm getting ready to revamp and do a new
sure.
website where I have more freedom to do what I want to do.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
so they can go see that at purposemeetsdestiny.com.
Okay.
You can check out my website there. There's many of articles, metaphysical articles that
Wow.
you can read right there that I wrote. I'm also a writer. I have an upcoming book. It's
Yes.
called "You Are What You've Been Waiting For." That's the name
Wow.
of my book. So that'll be out soon. I'm in the process of getting that together, getting the book proposal for that together, and hopefully we'll have someone pick me up and publish that. In addition to that, I do one-on-one coaching and group coaching as well.
Wow.
So
I'm
yeah,
so excited. This is so great, because I really believe in you, Soleil. You are like, I mean, this book that you're coming out with and what you got going on is just going to be just help so many people. And so I really believe in you. You really you're no joke.
thank
You're
you,
no
Rob. I
joke.
appreciate
Yeah.
you saying that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I really I found my purpose, and
Yes.
I'm here to
Yeah.
definitely help and add some value to the world.
Yeah. So I'm going to put links below in this video to your information, with uh, a little comment, and uh, I would love to have you come back. This has just been,
Oh yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface.
oh, not even.
We
And
really have.
I would love to have you come back, and let's pick it up next time. We're coming up on over 30 some minutes, 30, almost 40 minutes. So let's leave it there for today,
Hmm.
and we'll pick it up next time. And you've been listening to the Awakening State podcast, where we are helping each other wake up and empowering each other to take back our true identity and our
That's right.
true nature of who we are. And thank you again, Soleil Ray. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you
And
for having me.
we'll do this again real soon.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you,
Absolutely.
folks. All right. Have a wonderful day.
Good night, everyone.
Okay. Bye now.